Baboon. Here we are again.
Zippity doo dah.
We are, officially finished the first 3 major albums in Byron's career. He has another one. Well, we've been touching on the subject for a long time that what is an album now?
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you really? I don't think you do, and I don't think Byron thinks you do. So he's taken to new ways of bringing music out and rediscovering old music and doing all kinds of stuff. So here we are, finished Koi Paradisio, and tell me what you've been working on, because you said you have something new, or semi-new.
This one of the videos from Koi Paradisio that you played, I saw, for those who are, for nobody who's watching and nobody who watched the first one,
Right.
And so the previous ones that nobody watched.
Yeah.
The song, there was a song which was unpronounceable on Koi Paradisio, and it was only unpronounceable because that album happened to be, I had cancer 12 years ago, and so I always consider this sort of my cancer album, and so the cancer I had, well, it was testicular cancer, but the cancer I had, and going sort of through the machinations of having cancer and stuff like that, there was a lot of unpronounceable things done to my body that I still don't know what they were. There was one operation. I still don't know what they did to me other than they ripped open my stomach. But they had some sort of big exotic name to it. It was almost like the sort of half Latin, sort of, if you ever go to the dentist and stuff like that, like they sort of speak this sort of pig Latin and stuff like that. So it was all sort of unpronounceable things that were done to me and stuff like that. So I had done a song, and I had Kira, your daughter, she pantomimed some sort of spirit of life thing, and I had no lyrics and stuff like that, but I did the video, or we did the video sort of 10 years ago, and you played it to me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and so I saw the video, and it had no lyrics to it. It had Kira's performance on it, which was super enjoyable to watch. But knowing what I know now, and knowing what I've sort of learned about videos and stuff like that, there were a few things I saw right away that I thought could have been done better. One of the major things about it was putting lyrics on it, and I thought I could sort of wash out the background of it and sort of put some lyrics on it. And the other thing that I thought about was the zodiac, or the astrology symbol for Cancer, that I hadn't sort of included on there, just some sort of esoteric look that I could just sort of add to it and stuff like that. So this week I started putting the lyrics over that song, and I was quite taken aback by the experience of doing it. Just sort of that thing about lyrics and Kira's performance. I had sort of very strident changes of the lyrics, so you see sort of Kira looking... I sort of washed out her colors and sort of airbrushed it so you can see the font a lot more, and yeah, I was quite taken aback. It looks just gorgeous, and yeah, so the one thing I have learned over, and it's a small thing as far as Adobe, was learning how to use adjustment layers. I never knew what an adjustment layer was,
Right.
And stuff like that. So I was able to sort of put a patina over some of it and stuff like that.
Really? Sorry, I'm just
yeah. So
trying to find your album, and I'm not having much. I mean, find your channel here. I don't know why I'm not having any luck here. And then even when I look back for your old emails, I don't see them. Boy, I'll have to cut all this out. Phew, this is boring. Oh, please, come on. Do you know the name of your channel?
it's just Byron. You can't get your emails? Oh, okay, forget it.
You think it would come up with a Byron that maybe I have looked at before? But no, this is not it, right?
No.
No. And therein lies the rule of always fucking...
Put Byron Koi Paradisio.
Okay. Okay.
That'll get you.
Was that the song?
Yes, that'll get you into my YouTube channel.
Okay, well, hang on a second. I didn't want to play it just yet.
There I am down there.
I thought I already subscribed to you. What is going on with this? Okay, just... Oh boy. You know, I like to not have to edit these episodes, but this is definitely one where I'll be cranking all this shit out because this is just awful. I mean, sometimes the way the internet, YouTube, things just... It's horrible. Like,
right, but that's not the song.
Friggin' work.
That's just to get you into my...
Yeah.
Right, and there's
subscribe again. Look at it. I've already subscribed. So whatever. Okay, so I'll have picked it up here. So okay, here we are.
Right. So it's so this is this unpronounceable name of the song, but I must say, between you and I was that's the zodiac sign for Cancer. That's what it was. Not my idea, mate. But I had to put it in there because I thought it looked so good.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let me just do this. I want to make sure it's all ready to do. Okay.
Yeah. So play it.
And so this is Morai Spinnae.
I think so. I think I had a better sort of when I first wrote down that as the title. It was some sort of Italian. I think I was doing really good Italian sort of accent that day. I can't remember how I did it, but it's. I find it kind of funny that I can't even pronounce the name of it.
And it wasn't any attraction to the Italian language. It was just it sounded weird, and then you started making up more.
It looked cool to me. It sort of went with sort of Coi Paradisio. It sort of had its own language, and the word looked good. As you see, it really comes together well on this font, I think. So
I think the big difference here is that Byron has added lyrics, because before there was no lyrics to it.
Yes.
And, it kind of tells a story, again, of the Cancer album, and just so you know, I think he was highlighting the fact that don't get any crazy ideas, this is the sign for Cancer.
Right. And so the perspective of this song is, so I found out about my cancer through a hockey injury. I was a goalie, and somebody sort of drilled me in the crown jewels. So this song is directed toward the guy that hit me in the crown jewels. It only got me to be checked out by a doctor. If I wouldn't have got sort of hit there, I probably would not be here. So it was a thank you to him. So play it. And you tell me
one of those bizarre things that people say, oh, it's not just coincidence, man. But things like that, sometimes I still believe it's all coincidence, but makes you think.
It does, and this part of the song is sort of very spooky. It always took Brian, who produced it. He always said just sort of the feel with the female voices. I think there's Susie on there and stuff like that. It's just had that sort of spookiness to it. So yeah.
Without further ado.
To go and save my life. So thank you. I took you to the cleaners.
looks wonderful. My God.
Wow, yeah, that's really nice.
Can you play it for Kira if you remember? Or
Yeah.
would she be interested in seeing it again?
I think so.
Yeah.
She's like you. She doesn't watch anything she does. And I say, hey, have you shown your friends any of this? She goes, no. I said,
Yeah.
why? She goes,
Yeah.
you know, not she's embarrassed. She's
No.
very proud that she was part of that. But
Yeah. So.
she's like you. She just kind of moves on. I'll watch things over and over and over.
Yeah. So that's what I did this week. I was completely sort of.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I thought so too.
A couple of questions. So, do you ever use drop shadows on them? Sometimes to, like at the very beginning, it was just when that title came up, I thought just a little bit of drop shadow to define the edge of the letters when they go dark on dark. Excuse me. I haven't got coronavirus.
Sometimes I debate that. It's always sort of a debate. How do I get the lyrics sort of to show? And sometimes I sort of I know what you're saying. Sometimes I try and put borders, and stuff like that. Try and find something. But as she's going in and out and stuff like that, I know it's kind of lost. But there's a type of a quality I get so excited as soon as I found the font for this and sort of the basic colors. Like I just sort of said, oh, this is going to work really nice. I just get so excited, and I play it once or twice. I don't even want to touch it. Like I'm just like, oh my God, that looks so good. And that's usually the way I get.
Interesting, because when I looked at the fonts, I went, and then I went black and red on it, and I went, it's fine. It's fine. I really enjoyed. For you video people out there, what happened was when we shot it, I think we shot it in 1080 whatever, but we were back a little bit, and so for the song, Byron wanted to be really tight on her eyes to start and then just be slowly pulling back the whole thing. Well, what happens is anytime you digitally enlarge your image, it starts to rasterize and it's pulling apart, and that always bothered me. It just looked amateurish, but the adjustment layer that Byron started using this week and added that sort of posterizing, it just it smoothed out the rasterization, added a neat little effect. So I thought that was really well done and made it look much more pro, especially when it came to the part of the special effect where we were just learning how to do that stuff, and we were trying to motion track the little ball of light with her hands, and it didn't go so well. But now that you've blown out certain areas, like the exposure, it works perfectly now. You don't have it doesn't have a defined little spot where it originates. It's kind of so that was really good work. The fonts were okay, but and then as well the music. I heard different stuff in there.
I find interesting that you say that, but I find once having sort of experiencing the song maybe in a different way, you start hearing it in a different way, having the sort of lyrics out there. You've said previously, so your own personal experience with music, like lyrics and stuff like that, they sort of have less effect on you as I've expressed how they do for me. But this week has been just so gratifying, and you talk about just sort of the medicinal properties of music and just sort of indulging in one's sort of craft and stuff like that. For many reasons, the lyrics, the beauty of your daughter, just the way the adjustment layers were just, I think, bringing this whole song up. I think it was communicating my words a lot better, having the lyrics out there. It was a very gratifying and emotional sort of experience. Like, it was so fun, and things just seemed to be clicking when it was just working, and I didn't have to take a lot of time to sort it out how to approach it. So yeah, it was just the best of weeks.
Well, you have so much material to dick around with to try to get it right, or whatever each time. It's funny because in this whole journey we've done, we've seen you go from producing videos and stuff to now these individual experiments of how images and text go over top of each other. I can't imagine doing a song now not putting the words on it, because even today, as well as I know your material, I'm learning new lines all the time. Oh, that's what that is. You hear a song you like, you just never bother to figure out that particular line they say. It sounds like this. It's still wonderful to see certain lines written going, oh yeah, okay, that makes you reappreciate the cadence, you know, the delivery of the line. What's the one from it's the Alien Rabbit the Monkey. It was so good that I never knew what you said, but when we were watching it and the words come up again, I went, oh fuck, that's genius.
I forget.
Yeah, whatever. But it happens time and time again with you and other artists that discovering a proper line as opposed to what you thought it was is a little bit exciting.
It's always interesting to sort of get deeper into songs that you've heard of before and sort of hear them in a different context. So just sort of riffing off what you've been saying about sort of the joy and stuff like that, about video stuff. So the other song in tandem I've been working on this week is a song called Squish. And Squish is just sort of built up of sort of a basic premise. As far as you look at the video, it's a black background and I use neon colors. And basically I take objects, visual objects, the word squish, and I squish them, and then you get a big splat sort of neon paint on the screen, right? And that's how I've been playing it out. So there are certain sections of the song that's got John Dewar plays most of the guitars. It's a real sort of hard rocker song. And there's parts where it's very sort of strident. And I was just thinking on the way in today, one way I have about 8 seconds that I need some sort of little sort of colorful play. So I thought of a chessboard of squares of different colors. And then in the middle of that 8 seconds, squishing the chessboard and then having it splat out in paint in all the sort of different colors, like within those 8 seconds. It's just a great sort of palette, but this song Squish has just been an excellent sort of it's like Play-Doh. It's like a different sort of sandbox. And when I sort of do the video at night and turn off all the lights in my apartment, it just looks like $1 million looking at those. Because that's the great thing about the internet, because I got all my RGB colors from, I just go neon hot pink, neon yellow, banana split green, or something like that. And every time you Google it or Bing it, they'll give you the RGB numbers or something. That's what I do working and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, like black and white. One is 0000000.
Right.
And one is FFFFFF.
Yeah.
That's white and black. I know that's 100% white, 100% black.
Yeah. I really love that Dayglow stuff. I can't get enough of that stuff. And anyways, it's just great on a song like Squish. It's a very sort of strident thing. So,
but, see, here's my question too. Because we're 2D, you know, or on a page, when you say like Dayglow colors, well, you know, what is a Dayglow color? Like sometimes people in design, when I'm designing videos, they want, I do a lot of award videos, corporate stuff. It's my sort of mundane job. But they'll say, so we want this one, our letters to be in silver. And I go, oh boy. You know it's gray, right?
Right.
It can't be silver. I mean, that's the funny thing about colors and how we perceive colors and what you're looking at it on. Like, it's easier to make it on the computer screen, you know, thankfully. You know, because when I used to work at Helium, whenever somebody wanted like a Dayglow or neon color, it was always a PMS overprint or a metallic overprint, and that was extra money per CD or whatever you were making, because it was an actual metal ink they were putting on there. Computer's a little different, right? You're dealing in RGB or CMYK or some kind of swatch color or something, and it's really bizarre because then you have to wonder, how does it playing back on everybody else's computer?
Those are the things that I don't, I try and not to indulge in my brain, because that would drive me crazy. I just sort of go off my screen and say, well, that looks good to me.
It's the same as the audio part of your music, right? Like, you finish your song. Now, luckily today, the programs are so good that you can pretty well assure yourself that it sounds nice and robust when you output something with a light mastering algorithm on it.
Yeah, you can see it. You can just see how flat it is.
Well, back in the day, we had no idea. Remember, we were mixing songs and you'd come back and it sounds this thin in your car and you go, what happened? What did we do? But nowadays, it's pretty well done for you, which is good. But not so good, because I don't think people are understanding what makes their music good, what makes their visuals good, because you just do it, hey, that's perfect.
Well, especially pop music. I don't know how they go about mastering orchestral stuff or sort of maybe quiet jazz or something like that. But I mean, that's the thing about sort of mastering pop music. I mean, you can see it. You can see it on your screen. It's just one big sort of bar with these little stops that you've done or something like that. If that's how you're mastering it. But I mean, one of the fundamental things or beautiful things about music is dynamics.
Of course.
The ability to get nice and quiet and then...
We used to, because part of the job at Healy was to master albums if they wanted them mastered. And the typical question, your first one is always, do you want dynamic mastering or you just want balls to the wall? Because sometime in the 80s, record labels or mix engineers, mastering engineers got smart in knowing how to compress sounds and then having them all just sit at like 0 VU, the whole album. And that's what Byron's talking about. The dynamic is when you listen to like maybe to Abbey Road, the second side, and quiet stuff is quiet. Like it's lower on the register, and you may have to lean in a little bit, but that's music.
Yeah, I don't know how well that I just don't know how well that sort of big bar translates over a period of time for your ears. I mean, your ears must get tired.
Terrible, but if you're just in like club music,
for sure,
mean, you're not expecting any different, right?
Absolutely.
But I think you and I grew up in an age where you go to your room. You'd get your Beatle album or whatever, and you put it on, either on headset or up close, and you'd just be looking at the album, listening, you know. And if it was quiet, that was fine. It was a quiet song. It happens. Not a lot of dynamics.
Dynamics. Yeah, well, it's what I've been telling you, or what I've been showing up lately with listening to my car. Sort of dance hits of this Ministry of Sound compilation. So it's a lot of stuff, recent stuff. And it's meant for a car. It's meant to be played loud, and everything is at 11 as far as sort of the sound and the mixing. And the mixing, these guys must have these digital templates by now, because once you sort of hit or click onto a good EQ setting in your car with your subwoofer, everything, all the songs come out the same. But I have other compilations from the same company, the same British company, and I'm just listening to it now. So it's stuff from the 90s. And you can tell the difference between the mastering. Like there's a lot more difference between songs about what song has been pumped higher, what's been pushed higher as far as the mastering is, how the kick is being played and stuff like that. Some have absolutely no subwoofer to the mixes at all and stuff like that.
Really?
Some translate.
And these are all dance tracks?
Well, these are songs from the 90s. That's their compilation. So it's 20 songs.
Are you talking like rock songs and dance songs?
I guess what was popular back then and what they have the license for and stuff like that. So it had a combination. Like it had Oasis, Wonderwall on it, and that great Sheryl Crow song, All I Want to Do, which sounds like a million. Actually, it's the best sounding song on that compilation in my car. It just sounds like $1 billion. It sounds like they recorded it in a big LA studio and stuff like that.
Well, I'm sure they did.
But you can also hear a lot more real drums from the 90s. Guys actually, I don't know, ironically, I don't know what stuff I hear these days that is real drums in pop songs. It seems to be just a ton of drum machines, 808s and all that rap and
well, yeah, it depends on what style of music you're listening to. But I mean, you don't know anymore because they're going to sample 2 bars of Jeff Porcaro's stuff.
Yeah.
And when you hear that beat, you go, that's pretty good. That sounds like a human. But if I just loop stuff and...
The only one that I can say that is that must be like a live drummer and they must sort of loop all that stuff is Daft Punk. I don't think they use a drum. I think some of the songs, obviously, they use it, but there's a live drummer in there. Like you can hear the guy.
Well, and as well at a certain level of.
Is that right or wrong? Like
I'm pretty sure they augment all their stuff with drum machines
for sure.
and samples and stuff.
But they have a drummer. Like that's part of the Daft Punk setup.
Well, yeah, especially in that most recent one, Random Access Memories. There's a drum solo in song 2 or 3.
Yeah.
There's obviously real drum. I mean, at that level. it's not hard to make a call and go, Daft Punk's looking for the top drummer, and you go, come on in,
Yeah.
spend 2 hours. Here's the thing. I think for a really good drummer, that's pretty simple. Like, remember when Steve Petico came into your session? He's such a pro. He just goes, country, and you go, oh my God, that's awesome. He goes, thank you, and he walks away, because he does it all the time. So same thing with these drummers, I'm sure, recording samples or for guesting.
I don't think what they were doing was the most it wasn't like Steve Gadd coming in and doing the big solo for Asia,
Right.
Steely Dan. But yeah, you hear less live drums. I was just saying, just in reference to my.
I think it's harder to tell.
Harder to tell, yeah. But less dynamics in popular songs, as far as I'm concerned,
That's
for sure.
I love the fact, it being a guitar player, call myself a guitar player, that it's probably going to be the last instrument that you'll be able to digitally recreate on a sampler or something. Like the way you can manipulate and bend and make it sound bad yet great, out of tune yet perfectly intonated. Guitar is probably, I don't know, you get AI to play a guitar, like you got to tell them, think like this person and play it's going to be the realm of humans, I hope.
Yes, well, I hope that never goes away for sure. I hope
They can do violins. Like, you don't see a violinist pushing a string. I mean, they've vibrato, beautiful, but that's easily done.
Yeah, and that is interesting. I hope all that stuff stays. I know that there is some evolution in instruments. I remember when I was lucky enough to be in Lucerne in Switzerland, and they had Richard Wagner's place. I don't know where he hung out or whether it was his birthplace, but they had old violins and stuff like that from when he was growing up. It was very interesting to see sort of older stuff.
When was it, in the 1800s?
Something like that.
It wasn't that long ago.
Right, and just the whole sort of brass instrument thing, and then they got valves and stuff like that. So there are, but I hope that they keep all that stuff.
For sure. I'm just saying, I don't think you'll be able to deconstruct a guitar player doing things digitally where you can just do it on you got riffs and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't think you can. And then even if you could, really, what's the friggin' point of the whole sort of experience of
It'd take you
playing
so
music?
long to type in all the dynamics and characteristics of playing a weird guitar part.
Yeah, well, it's like I told you previously, my experience of having really talented studio musicians when I did the Alien, the Rabbit, and the Monkey. So I'd have the bass player. But the bass player always wanted to be the guitar player, so he had a 6-string, but he was always playing way up there and stuff like that. And he was trying to play like
good. That's Tom McMahon, a lot of it. He's really good.
Or some guitar players wanted to sound like a duck, so quack, quack, quack.
Adrian Belew.
Right, so everybody wants to sound like somebody else at some point with the technology that they have. It's interesting seeing some of the new technology that's out there, these different sort of electronic things and how you manipulate the sounds, whether it's types of buttons or scroll things and stuff like that.
It's funny, I'm just thinking of this now about, as a guitar player, and I get guitar, I'm inundated with guitar stuff, but you can always go for someone's sound, Clapton's sound, Stevie Ray Vaughan's sound, Jimmy Page sound, Brian May, whoever's sound. You don't hear that so much with keyboards or even drums because it's kind of the same thing. It's more that guy's sound, the drummer, the way he articulates it. But in guitar, you can actually get into a vein of which guitar did they use, on what amp, and what processing did they use, what pedals. Guitar is maybe I'm a guitar lover.
It's true.
But guitar seems to be one of those things that will be always reinvented and played by humans. And
yeah, I agree with you. It's such a rabbit hole, sort of the whole Guitar Fest and what you're saying about all the different roads that you can go down.
Speaking of all that, I've never seen the Rick Wakeman Yamaha electric piano. Like they don't, but the guitars, every second guitar is someone's signature guitar because it was their sound. But keyboards, you don't get the Steve Gadd drum kit. I mean, you'd buy what he was using, but they don't make that. They do with guitars all the time.
Yeah, they are a more personal sort of accoutrement in the sort of rock and rollers. Yeah, absolutely. When you're a piano player, you're either playing
Billy Joel Steinway.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Losers. Piano player. I always remember one of the piano players in one of the bands in high school. He used to have a Rhodes he used to carry around. It was JP.
A suitcase Rhodes.
It was a Rhodes, and it must have weighed the size of an iceberg in the
Right, it's in
Antarctic.
the black case that comes and,
Yeah.
and the silver legs that come off it.
It was a monstrosity of...
But it sounded neat.
It sounded neat, especially if you put it through like a dirty speaker and stuff like that. Something always the Leslie speakers sound good. But I remember one time he had his keyboard on the riser at some party, and as any person's in a band want by the second set, you're probably getting juiced, especially at a dance, whatever like that. And at one point with his over energetic playing, his Jerry Lee Lewis like hammering at the keyboards, said keyboard fell over the riser and made the biggest friggin' I'm surprised.
It would be worthwhile if you had videotaped that and had it on tape.
It made such a sound. I'm surprised it didn't find its way down to the core of the center of the earth. It was quite a heavy piece of thing. And it was no fun to go places with it if he was sort of part of your, if he was part of the other band that was playing and you were in it took a lot of space and it took 2 or 3 guys.
If you remember those things, I didn't play them, but I'd help people set them up. Those silver legs, as you screw them on, they never all, because their bottoms were always angled a little bit, and they'd be angled all different ways. The thing would be kind of jiggling a little, and so it'd be dancing across as you're playing.
Yeah.
See?
And they
You
would
shouldn't play
also
Keyboards are no good. Joking.
sometimes they would also have the Hammond B3 or something like that, and then so these Hammond B3 players always want to bring the big Leslie speakers with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they'd be
You
a
need the
van,
two most cumbersome
They'd be a van in
instruments.
themselves. It'd be the fucking.
I'd want to help the drummer. That's what it's.
And it'd be the drummer too with his 3-piece.
I'd say I'd rather help the drummer than the guy with the Hammond B3 and the Leslie. Here's a little story. My company does a lot of video for big festivals, and we were doing a show for Dr. John a while back.
Dr. John.
Genius keyboard player before
Absolutely.
he died. And they were setting up the stage, and they had this little, they brought a forklift or something for the side of the stage because he has his big piano and an electric piano and a Hammond and a thing.
Is it all sort of
It
nailed
wasn't
in?
for the keyboards. It was for Dr. John to get him on the stage. I'm not kidding. Roll him on.
He was a big lad.
Yeah, he was easily 350,
Oh,
and he was
okay.
probably like 70 at the time.
He couldn't
so
walk at that time. It was.
I don't think so. I didn't see it happening. So we had many stages, but that was because when I saw the contraption, I thought, oh, he's got the big Hammond, he's got the B3 or the Leslie, and the whole deal. And my friend who was doing backline said, well, this isn't for his gear. Anyways, good times.
That's a good.
What do you say?
Okay.
Never had to say a single word. Shut up. Kiss me slower than molasses, faster if you wish, more than anyone surpasses. There's no limit, they won't show if it's a suicide. I'm never was easy, but I
Welcome back to part 2. Funny enough, we didn't start part 1 with a current events calendar.
COVID.
COVID is coming back again, second wave pretty strong. So
Is there
much
going to be a
so,
third wave? Is this
so much so that my wife lost her job this week. So that hasn't been a banner week for us. we were hoping it wouldn't happen, but eventually it did. When the second bad thing was announced that it was coming back, that seemed to trigger all this stuff. I think the company she works for had a plan A and a plan B, and unfortunately, plan B had to be enacted. And it just keeps hitting home, and that's kind of shitty. So that's our reality.
Yeah, it certainly seems to hit everybody in the world.
And just, it is October 2nd, 2020 right now, just to give everybody a point of reference. And we just went through, Byron and I were just talking in the break about the presidential debate that was just held, and how things have just descended into chaos, like in every way, shape, and form. But I was happy that old Joe Biden managed to stay semi-lucid through the whole thing and stayed with it, I think the rallying cry is "Stay alive, Joe."
Yeah. Anyways, so moving on now, what I'd like to talk about is I'm getting back to music because it's something that I care about and I think we have some kind of information on.
Right, so...
What are you doing? What are you doing now? He said he had an album ready to go. I'm sure he does. But now I find that you're kind of just moving in your universe and going, what's this?
Right,
It's funny how back in the day there was always so much more of a point. Like, we gotta get this album done. Not that there was any real date, but it gave you a focused kind of energy.
Yes, I've always had sort of different sort of energies and stuff like that, and just sort of finishing off my last album and stuff like that. I think I got more, and I actually, when I did my last album, Koi Paradiso, I got 1,000 CDs made and stuff like that, just to have, I don't know what it was, there's still like a whole pile of boxes and stuff like that, just to have a physical CD in my hand was, after going through what I went through, was a good thing. So, but I'd still done tons of music. There's tons of music that was unfinished that I'd done up to that point, and so I think I was just sort of doing what I always do. I spent some time every day doing music, but at that time, I was still, even after I got cancer, I was playing even more hockey. I was just a hockey fiend. I was so happy to sort of get over this crap, and it was almost like a new lease on life in a way. And I just got so into hockey. I was just getting into that. You can't play that anymore. And, so I stopped, but then I found out I had a lot of extra time on my hands. I wasn't going to hockey, or I wasn't recovering, or I wasn't going through this long marathon of playing hockey every day. And so I had a lot of extra time, and I found I was just really, I had all this sort of setup going with my computers. I got into art, digital art, and stuff like that. I started questioning about whether I wanted to continue putting out CDs or what an album is with technology. We're in the 2000s, right? Stuff like that, how technology, how people communicate. People in the movie industry, or people in the industry themselves, whether people go see their movies in theaters or experience something on somebody's iPhone, is sort of this big artistic sort of question about how you communicate and stuff like that. So same thing with doing music and stuff like that. So yeah, so I just started, I had this wealth of stuff that I had done, and 3/4 of it was all unfinished stuff. I think I always considered that I'd always get back and finish off this stuff. So I think it was just, once I finished playing hockey, and sort of being in the age I was in my 50s, I thought I just couldn't leave all this sort of stuff in a drawer. I should finish off all this music I've been making and stuff like that. It was much to do, like with I did a book on my grandfather, I had my grandfather's medals, and I wanted to do a hard copy, not let the memory go away and stuff like that. So I just started indulging in all the sort of music I've been doing, and I got right into a groove. I found YouTube or a channel was a great way to express myself and put my artwork to work. So yeah, I've just got more and more deeper into doing my sort of music and artwork.
Well, let me ask you right now, it's nothing new for Byron, but I've noticed a lot of rehashing of ideas, reworking of original themes. Are you still writing as many completely new songs, or are you just find that now you have so much material to tinker with that you're moving on from raw creativity, writing the song, and now fooling with the stuff?
I wrote a couple new songs this year that I did one during the pandemic and stuff like that. But generally, my thought at the start of this year, I finished last year's album, or what I call an album, Wonderfully Stupid. But this year, you at the very start of the year, you got me on sort of one song I had done previously, and I found sort of a hard drive, and I started, there was this wealth of stuff that I hadn't that was sort of unfinished, and I started going through this is sort of a hard drive I've been going through this year, all this music and stuff like that. I'm close to finishing off a hard drive, and I thought it'd be fun to start writing some new stuff. I started just following my notes, and it's just some of this stuff it's fun to do this stuff in a way, because a lot of the stuff is already laid out for me, different sort of building blocks that I'm using, even just seeing the video that I've done with Kira, there's something I've done, knowing that I know now, 10 years later, I wanted to make a couple of quick changes, just to see what I did, and I did some additional stuff, and use it a lot more.
That was a big upgrade.
Yeah, I was very happy with that, and that's what
So, will you replace it on Koi Paradiso online, or do you have the technology to do that?
No, Koi Paradiso is, it's there, this is on my YouTube channel, so I just added it to my YouTube channel.
Remember to hit the subscribe and like button. No one has yet, except for me. But do that, especially in the future.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting to see when you put my name in YouTube, because there's a lot of other Byrons in there, right?
It is pretty interesting that,
It's one of the ones that I do know, I have no help at all. I do.
No, it's funny, folks. Go into YouTube and just type in Byron and see what you come up with. It won't be Byron Edwards, but we know. So they're putting in stuff that people can't see right now. But yes, you type in Byron on YouTube, and you'll get a whole bunch of musicians that, I guess we could argue the merits of their music. Speaking of, I don't know if you watched last night, the premiere Saturday Night Live episode, they're back together acting together. Didn't care with doing Joe Biden. Anyways, what I was getting at is the musical guest was Megan B. Stallion.
Brexit right now. Like they're just almost falling off the deep end.
Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking we should probably end this before it just gets into a giant shit show, because the world's just going down
we're
the
past that
toilet,
half hour.
and we're
Yay!
way
So
past
that's why
that anyway.
one indulges. I will be indulging next week with Squish, a multicolored fest of Squish.
I was gonna say we need to cover current events in maybe like in a 5-minute segment. We'll do that, and we'll put a timer on because it just drags me down. I want to get back to music and videos and stuff we like.
I agree. Sorry for dragging you down there.
Oh no, I did it myself. This has been a down week, with Kristen's termination, and also this has been the gray episode. But we promise next week will be happy
COVID,
times.
stupid COVID.
Stupid COVID.